most is the penal world, Phobos 6, one of the key mining suppliers in your protectorate. Commerce succeeded. Such intriguing concern for the Phobos 6 outpost. Doesn't your house happen to own the extraction stations there? His beady eyes widen in fear. Your lordship, I beg of you, do not interpret my words as an attempt to influence your decisions in any way. You see, without Phobos 6, the manufactorums of your world will need to make haste to find new suppliers elsewhere and arrange new shipments. And in these troubling times, they run the risk of delays and other most tragic mishaps. My only concern is for the prosperity of the Von Valancius dynasty. I have already visited the agri-world Janus. Governor Viat found herself facing a number of problems in my absence. Truly, the Viat line is one of the oldest in the Von Valancius protectorate. If the inheritor of such a well-respected blood could not handle what has befallen her, then the situation must have been extraordinarily indeed. Vistenza succumbed to worshipping the ruinous powers and was executed. Drivestern pales in terror. It is clear from the unseemly grimace on his aristocratic countenance his fear is not feigned. Ruin his powers. Truly horrifying news. I commend your resolve and unwavering severity. Death to the enemies of humanity. I wonder, you know, I'm thinking this guy's like, was she really worshiping Ruinous powers, or did this guy just go on a power trip and kill her? In which case, maybe I shouldn't have been late for this meeting. That does it for planets and trade routes. What else? Xenos, your lordship. I don't rightly know where to begin. He rubs the bridge of his nose warily. Otherworldly beasts are not an uncommon sight in the Coronis Expanse. They've been a menace to the worlds this side of the Maw for decades, but now those abominations are on the rampage. They show no signs of fear as they attack ships, either damaging them to the point where they become unfit for transport duty, or outright gutting them. Only you have the power to stop this madness. We are in the process of restoring the astropathic choir of Dargonis. Luckily, we were forced to slay only some deranged psychers, although those that remain are as yet unable to transmit messages. I hope Master Scalander will keep his word and offer you his support in the war against the Xenos. According to his reports, the region of Phobos 6 has been of particular concern these last few cycles, which is all the more reason to discover the colony's fate as soon as possible. Now, to issues on a smaller scale. There are certain degrees of tension in the capital due to the unorthodox succession to the Sacred Warrant. Chances of uprising are minimal, of course, and the spreading of rumors is nothing but a sign of weakness of mind and spirit. Nonetheless, I've prepared a list of minor houses that have demonstrated unseeming discomposure of your succession. What is to be done about them? Oh, God. Oh, man. Okay, so one option is to send them lavish gifts, but then that would just encourage people to be, like, rioting because they'll get gifts. But then the second, like, most severe option is kill them. And the third most severe option is kill their whole families, which is pretty crazy. Eliminate the most prominent malcontents quietly, but do not threaten entire families. Hopefully these steps will be enough to keep the rest from causing more trouble. Once your lordship's wrath descends upon the guilty, have no doubt there won't be a soul on Dargonis willing to share their fate. One last thing, your lordship. Your inauguration as bearer of the Sacred Warrant is but a matter of time, but I would like to inquire about one crucial detail. I imagine you are intending to uphold the centuries-old tradition, bolstered by an equally long-lasting friendship, of being represented on Dargonis by one of the noble houses. I presume that, as before, this duty will be accorded to House Drivestem. One moment. Which houses can represent me at the ceremony? Any of the noble houses located on Dargonis. The Drivestem family, which I lead. The Caprak family, which long ties to the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Sarbaks, known for their piety and diligence in service. Perhaps I should also mention the Wersarians, who have some influence, but who are not actually of noble origin. Any one of the houses would be honored to represent you at the ceremony. One of the options says, I don't care, just don't fight over it too hard. Huh. So I've never met anyone from Gaprak or Sarbak. Drivestem, I only know this guy. And Wersarian, you know, we've got Abelard, who has been working with me. The obvious inclination would be to either give it to Wersarian or leave it to tradition. I suppose I will bestow this honor upon the Wersarians. Abelard turns to you and bows respectfully. Lord Captain, to accompany you at such a critical hour is the greatest honor for the Wersarian bloodline. Have no fear, we will not fail you. Drivestem tosses Abelard a look that lacks even the smallest shred of respect. Forgive my boldness, but I must remind you that the Wersarians, whose lineage traces back to a Navy officer, are not of the Dargonis nobility. Such decisions may have adverse effects on your subjects' loyalty, your lordship. Drivestem's face breaks into a bitter smile. I shall immediately relay your commands, most gracious rogue trader. Thank you for your time. I would like to complete my inauguration as rogue trader as soon as possible. When is the ceremony? I'm afraid that until you deal with pressing issues, the ceremony will have to be postponed. Many trade routes are still unavailable. The central worlds of the Von Valancius Protectorate are going through a crisis, and the warp disturbances, if Void observers are to be believed, will prevent important guests from reaching the capital. Tell me about yourself and House Drivestern. It would be my pleasure to enlighten you. My house is the oldest and most respected on Dargonis. My ancestors walked side by side with yours for many generations as they cared for the world's welfare. Our duty is to supervise the governing bodies with the system subservient to you, and we are responsible for the Protectorate's logistics and economic stability. As for me personally, I am a humble servant of the Emperor and a loyal subject of the Rogue Trader, and to my great pleasure, I had the honor of calling myself Lady Theodora's close friend. At Urban's last words, Abelard lets out a sound that could be interpreted as either a snort or a cough. Urban gives him a look, which Abelard meets with an expression of utter nonchalance. That will be all, I take it? Thank you for your time, your lordship. Since duty calls, I shall take my leave. May the great Emperor's grace be with you. Rene says, by the way, Muck, your video about your gold making routine crashed the T6 market and made T6 sets drop between 20 to 25% and still hasn't recovered. You're welcome. Click these links. I wouldn't really call it going down by 20% crashing. But that's kind of funny. There's a secret passage here. I'm like almost certain. Oh, yeah, look. I don't know how to get into that room, but there's some kind of murder the rogue trader room behind that door. Alright, what's next? Is there anything else to do here right now? Got above those rookie perception skills? Yeah, I've been maxing perception on the navigator, but in this area, you only play your own character, not the whole party, so the navigator's not with me, which makes it difficult. I'm reminded of Dragon Age Inquisition, where there were some areas where you would go through alone, and there were locks to pick, and if you weren't playing the rogue, you couldn't pick them. You could only get through them if you yourself was the rogue, like on your main character. I'm trying to find what I need to do right now. Quest log leaves something to be desired for sure. Okay, like... Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else I need to do here, or if I just leave. Sydney says, been debating getting this for a little while now. How's the character progression customization? Overwhelming. At level 2. Hang on. Hang on a second. Alright, so you get to like level 2, and you gotta choose a skill. Let me see if I can find it. No, I guess it's like level 3. And you have all of these to choose from. So, it kind of drowns you in options. So there's a lot of reading at the beginning while you're trying to figure things out. But luckily they allow you to respec if you regret anything. Terrible news from Dargonis, Lord Captain. The subsidiary Hive City, Scipione 84249, has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production halted, and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to the neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? What is the cause of the catastrophe? It is still unclear. The noble houses are throwing the blame at one another. Agents of the venerable Achilles Scalander, stationed at Scipione 84249, have died heroically while trying to save the population from disaster. Their latest reports mention some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lowest hive, but do not go into further detail. Additionally, all of your servants are currently busy with investigating the causes of the crisis, but they're not doing anything to deal with the consequences. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the causes of the disaster can be concretely established, I would avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons where the refugees can be contained in the wastelands between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. If the other hives do not wish to accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson in resilience and humility. I'm sure that the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness, this tragedy of a feat of spirit. The noble houses are trying to wash their hands of this. How predictable. And yet, it is their duty to see that their planet meets its tithe obligation and brings glory and revenue to the treasury in your absence. Let the aristocrats take care of the refugees, and make sure they don't stop until every last refugee has some task to fulfill. Abelard, remind the noble houses of their duty. Well, actually, wait, hold on. There was that thing about the saboteurs. Hi. He was pulling on my sleeve. Little chip break. He was like, look at me. You done? Nope, not done. Flop. Okay. That's all he wanted. All right. Argenta, see to it that the ecclesiarchy would not ignore the laments of the poor. He who dares to remain deaf to the pleas of the destitute shall be branded a traitor to the faith. Large labor settlements were set up around the ruins of Scipione 84249 to where the refugees from the wastelands and neighboring hives have been rounded up. In the harsh wasteland scorched with the industrial poison, only a bare modicum of food and clean water, the settlement residents began the arduous and dangerous task of rebuilding their fallen home. Many of the ecclesiarchy's priests sought to share in the burden with these poor souls, coming to the villages and preaching to them about the righteousness of hard work. Some pastors have even chosen to stay in the camps permanently, where the desert cults of Aconite martyrs have begun to gather around them, glorifying the Lord Captain for granting them the right to suffer for the glory of the God Emperor. Oh God. Let's see, restoration, a new hive city, people times 3. Extasium, player character gains nobility is perfection, plus 5 to all skills. What? Emporium, the surviving spine will be rebuilt into a space elevator. It will be capped by an emporium, accepting those ships that are too heavy to land on the surface. -1 security. -1 route cost. ×1 weapons, chemicals, mechanisms, +1 efficiency. Oh, these are for all colonies. I think I'm gonna go restoration. Alright, Foulstone leveled up. What is... oh gosh, hold on. Indulgences for sale. Selling the forgiveness of the ecclesiarchy can be a significant source of revenue. The forgiveness? Good tiding. Play target's frequency of faith. They order the hammers closely and vicious string direct to giant star that reach up to the Foulstone's orbit. From there, a powerful Vox station will broadcast prayers and sermons to the entire planet. Imagine trying to sleep and someone's sermon is blasting in your ear the whole time. While the voice of the astrobathic choir will carry the sacred works all across the Cronus expanse, the good tidings will be high throughout the Vox spectrum, rallying Imperial subjects. Sure. What? High Factotum Janus. Your Lordship, there are alarming reports coming from Janus. A number of strange mutations have been spotted among the population in remote agri-complexes. Aside from the obvious disfigurement and the subsequent estrangement, these mutants, called wretches by the rest of the colonists, are coming together to practice a primitive form of religion involving ritual worship of the land. While they display no disobedience or hostility, their very existence is concerning. The members of the Magos biologists have tasked you tasked with healing Janus, found the mutation to be missing from the catalog, and recommend studying it and eradicating it immediately afterward. The Janus nobility humbly awaits your decision. What do we know about these wretches? Their mutations cause the loss of skin pigment and the shedding of hair. They're turning into Gollum? Their eyes of some have started developing nictitating membrane, similar to that of reptiles. Others succumb to progressive atrophy of the larynx, causing the loss of human speech. At the same time, their tendons became denser and more elastic, providing increased endurance and load resistance. The wretches are commonly ostracized due to their grotesque appearance. There haven't been any cases of mob justice yet, but they will become commonplace after the mutation's deformities become more obvious. The wretches tend to form groups with similarly afflicted people. Their average level of intellect is low. They all belong to the labor caste and can communicate among themselves using a primitive vernacular of their own invention. As for their own barbaric religion, they are deifying both the soil and Janus itself. To them, working in agri-complexes is a form of worship, which has had a positive impact on productivity. I mean, can we just make a colony for them to live in? What do my advisors say? I saw your agent's picked recordings, the signs these Monkey leave behind their idols, and I cannot deny a pathetic though extremely abstract connection to the symbols of my people. Their guttural prayers echo the sounds of the children of Assyrian speech. The probability of them having come into such close contact with our civilization is non-existent, yet they are still somehow connected. Protect these people. Resettle them to distant abodes where they will not be harmed for their peculiarities, and keep watch. Someday the truth may be revealed. The blessed sanction of the Imperium does not grace these mutants, but nor does it declare their existence anathema. Should we sentence them without further study? There are mutants whose existence is fully sanctioned, such as Ogrins, Ratlings, Pariahs, Pelagers, Felinids, or Troths. I only know Ogrins. Many have, our library had many treatises on the Genitor's craft. I could impart some of that knowledge to your servants. Purely theoretical, of course. This mutation has not been properly studied and is missing from the catalog. I am not registering a basis for delaying the commencement of immediate genetic purification. I recommend launching a thorough investigation into the genetic makeup of this forbidden strain. Resettle the wretches into separate agri-complexes where the crowds will not tear them apart. We will study them. I feel these Monkey have been touched by something wondrous. Show us on the doll where the wondrous touched you, Monkey. The mutants were resettled to distant agri-complexes where their unorthodox appearance will not put them in danger of being massacred by serfs. The mutants were put under surveillance. One of the watchmen spotted a mysterious relic in the hands of a group of wretches that turned out to be an item of Xeno origin. It is unlikely the mutants understood the nature of the object they worshipped. Uh-oh. Need more profit factor for this other stuff. Alright. Dargonus. Same. Need more profit factor. Alright, that's all I can do for those ship things. Alrighty. Heretic. No, not heretic. The rogue trader is allowed to do this. Ship is the Rouge trader and you are Abelard Mug. I mean, basically, we clean up after him. The Rouge trader. Oh my gosh. I wish there was a way to, like, fast travel, like, you know, really far. Or I guess there is, but you would need, like, 3 navigators inside to do that. Lord Captain, Lady Orselio was asking where she could find you. I sent her to your study. You can expect her there shortly. Woo! Alright, I have completely botched my last 2 dates with Lady Orselio. This time, chat, full gentleman. Hold on. Full gentleman. We will not be a rabble rouser. We will stop trying to channel our inner bard. Because that keeps going very poorly. Lord Captain, could you spare a moment to discuss a personal matter? Cassia's less than graceful movements betray her anxiety. She lowers her eyes slightly and fidgets with a satin handkerchief as she waits for your answer. I am Lord Captain once again, I see. Surely you know that you may call me by my name. I may, but I will not. I would not wish to overstep any boundaries around anyone, let alone the rogue trader himself. I am intrigued. What is it? I think she's breaking up with me, chat. I will admit I am intrigued. What is this personal matter? I'm rather embarrassed to ask you about something like this, but last I was here, I noticed a curious tome on the shelves of your personal library. A rather heavy-looking volume bound in a worn, gilded cover with the symbol of the Adeptus Ministerium on it. Martyrdom of Saint Visteria. I believe it was. She waves her hand in the direction of the shelves, and the satin handkerchief slips out of her fingers. Oh! Perception succeeded. Cassia takes a quiet breath of frustration, but it does not escape your notice that her ruby eyes are intently observing your reaction. Oh, I just remembered. Really early on, when we met her, we flirted, and we flirted way too hard. And she was like, "You need to learn how to talk to a woman." And there was a book nearby that was like literally how to talk to women. And we looked at it, and there was a thing on this exact situation. She set up the situation to see if we read the book. And I did! Pick up the handkerchief, bring it to your lips, and then return it to Cassio. The soft fabric tickles your lips, and the subtle scent envelops you like a thin veil. Cassia accepts the handkerchief with a nod of gratitude, and for the first time, gives you a look filled with warmth and affection. I passed the test! Thank you, Lord Captain. I believe I should return to my chambers now. Nod in understanding. She graces you with a half-hidden smile and swiftly leaves the study. Oh my gosh. It's so difficult to woo this woman. There's all these rules. I think if I had said I'll escort you, I would have failed again. What is this? Personal cogitator. Oh, this looks like a Kickstarter list. Okay. The light glinting off the polished skull of some unknown Xenos makes it seem like the bony face is mocking you. Didn't I have something else to do in here? I don't remember what. Argenta wants to talk. Heinrichs wants to talk. Talk to the Lady Navigator. We just did. Talk to Adira. Oh, I killed Adira. Yeah, she gone. Okay, let's see. Heinrichs wanted to talk, I believe. Heinrichs looks at you intently, his head tilted. You wanted to discuss the nature of your mission? Yes. But not here. Okay.
I wouldn't want our conversation to be gossip fodder on the bridge and in the officer's mess.
I've been kidnapped. Oh, back to my room. If you drop a handkerchief, I'm not picking it up. Heinrichs nods slightly. Thank you for finding an opportunity to talk. I trust now would be a good time to explain the reason for my return aboard your ship. I do not object to you personally, but I find the continuous presence of an Inquisition agent at my side slightly unnerving. Your concern is unfounded, as long as there is no substantial reason for it. I hope there will not be one. Oh my gosh. Yo, he's literally the, if you're doing nothing illegal, then you don't have anything to hide. Give me all your passwords. He's literally that guy. To business. The cult of the Final Dawn. The madmen preach their heretical doctrine among the denizens of the Coronis Expanse and instigate crimes against the throne and humanity. One such crime took place in your protectorate. The Lord Inquisitor considered it necessary to have one of his acolytes accompany the rogue trader on the voyage into the corrupted region. I also need to meet with one of my observers on the capital world in your domain. We did that last part. Give me a sec. I'm turning my fan on. It's getting too warm in my office. Okay. Alright. Lore succeeded. Why would Ordo Xenos agents investigate a chaos cult? You are well versed in how the Inquisition is organized, Muck Von Luck. Yes, initially our arrival in the Coronis Expanse was dictated by the need to fight Xenos, but there is more. The cult is tangentially related to my main specialization. Perhaps I'll be able to reveal the full truth someday, but right now I ask you to display humility and patience. You have spies on the Von Valencius worlds? The person I mentioned is not a spy, but a secretary of the Administratum Department on Dargonos. The planet's governor and Theodora were fully aware of his status. His duty is to fulfill